Sometimes we feel like those mountains are so very high, and that's when we need to take a breath so we can move forward anyway, knowing that on the other side of that doubt is faith, or on the other side of that pain is strength, and on the other side of fear truly is that love, that all-encompassing love. And it's true that those fears really are only in our mind. And sometimes we build them up so huge that we think we can't overcome them, and nothing is further, of course, from the truth. The uncertainties sometimes that are lying before us keep us stuck in that fear. And that fear can, in turn, keep us in chaos in our lives. And sometimes things get so complicated, we're not even sure which way to turn. We're not sure how to take that step forward or take that next breath to breathe through and experience. However, what I do know is that it is absolutely possible to stand in front of any mountain, and stand there knowing that love is on the other side of it, no matter what. I think we have a beautiful example of that right now with these fires, right? On the other side of that fear that probably many of us have been experiencing, especially those who live close, on the other side is the love that's been poured out and the support. We want to always remember that. As we have that love and that support, it does indeed guide us to living a simpler life, living our life more deliberately. And I think, again, I'm going to use that example. You're much more deliberate when you've been through a potential tragedy, right? We live more deliberately. We appreciate those small things a heck of a lot more, and the big things too, no doubt. For me, though, a simple, deliberate life means eliminating all the unnecessary chaos and drama, getting rid of all of that so we can experience that peaceful life, to spend that time fulfilling our soul's desire to love and to experience that oneness that we're always talking about, to spend time doing what's truly important. You know, these seemingly tragic events, right? We get to focus. What's really important to us? Really, the bottom line, what's important in life. And that's what we want to do. That's living deliberately. Getting rid of those unimportant things in our life and spend time with the people we love, the things we enjoy doing. Letting go of clutter and all the junk, and only spend time with that which is giving value to your life. Getting to that simplicity, however, isn't always a simple task. It's a journey, and it's a journey where you can take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. And we've all had that experience, no doubt. It's about learning to say, you know, that's not important. No, thank you. To those things that are in our best interest. And that's not always easy to do, to say no to things. If we pay attention, though, and to eliminate all the unnecessary stuff in our life, if we pay attention to that, we know when it's time to say no, because our body lets us know that. Have you ever had that gut response where the words are coming out, yes, but the body is saying, no, I don't need more stuff in my life. I don't need this responsibility. Linda Manassi Buell wrote this: when you learn how to say yes to the things you want in your life and no to the things you don't want in your life becomes simpler. A simpler life, living deliberately, might resemble something like a Walden Pond. For others, it will resemble New York City. Anybody know anyone? The New York City kind, right? The chaos. And a lot of people do thrive on that and want to be in that. Living that spiritual life, we're trying to move away from that space. So speaking of a simple life, when was the last time that you may have cleaned out a closet? I know we've lived in our house nearly 20 years, and oh my gosh, the things that have accumulated, right? We've all had that experience. When I go into a closet or a cupboard, that especially one that I haven't been into for a while, and I see stuff in there, I go, oh my gosh, I don't even remember having this. I'm working on that idea of if I forgot what it is, or where I got it, or why I got it, it's time to let it go. If I haven't used it or seen it in a year, let it, release it, and let it be someone else's treasure. Because clearly I'm not giving it the attention, right, that it needs. It also serves metaphorically as a way to let that baggage in our life go, just to release all of it and let it be out there. It can also be a lesson in learning what's enough. Our society has become one of acquiring, about getting more, and then a little bit more, because the more stuff I have, the more I am. However, when is enough enough? When do we get there? Most people don't know the answer to that. So they keep acquiring, and it becomes that never-ending cycle. I say we follow Socrates' advice. You know what he said? He is nearest to God who needs the fewest things. That's great, isn't it? Because then we have less time to spend on concerning ourselves with stuff and its importance in our life. Less time fearing it will be taken away, or somehow we'll lose it, or fearing that we're not enough without that stuff. Kind of thinking that's who I am. Another step in that cycle is becoming overwhelmed with a tight calendar of doing all of the time. Another never-ending cycle. We tend to skip out on the essentials of life. And what is that? Our time with God, our connection with our source, our connection to nature. Those are the essential things. When we get preoccupied with life out there, we miss opportunities that life is trying to give to us, trying to capture our attention, to gift us with people and situations that have the ability to enhance our lives, to support us on our journey. If you're in a place with too much stuff or preoccupation with time and your to-do lists, I would invite you to evaluate that. Look at that time. How do you spend your day? What things do you do from the time you wake up till the time you go to bed? What captures your attention? Assess whether or not it's in line with your priorities. And if it's not, then eliminate those things. Focus on what's important to you. Redesign your time based on your priorities, on your soul's purpose. Because there are only 2 steps to simplifying our life. 2. Identify what's important and eliminate everything else. It's a real simple process. So a good place to begin figuring out how to eliminate things is to create a simplicity list. A statement, actually. What do you want your simple life to look like? Write it out. Make a list of your top 5 priorities and focus on those. Once you do that, then you can evaluate your commitments that you've made in your life. Look at everything you've got going on. Think about which of those activities genuinely gives you pleasure. Which one gives you value? Which ones do you really love doing and appreciate? Which is feeding your soul? And then see if any of those line up with the priorities that you've listed. It's so important. We don't get to be here on this planet for very long. So do what you love. Whatever it is your soul and your heart is yearning to do, do that. Free up your time. Let go of the unwanted and stressful activities, those have-tos. And then utilize that time doing something that you're passionate about, that feels good to you. Spend time with the people you love. I think that's especially a big deal right now. Every time we go through a natural disaster, we think about that. Let's think about it every single day, right? Spend time with the people you love. Talk to them. Be present with them. In the reality of this human life, the short time we're on the planet, what is more important than connecting with those that we love, with those that we care about? We want to make sure we align, like we do here, with like-minded people, people who understand your journey, who share in your aspirations. I say we silently bless those who like to complain frequently, who like to find fault with things. Move away from that energy. We don't need that in our life, right? So we bless them and release them to their highest good. And we connect with those who are on the same page with us. It's essential for us to find ways to inspire our sense of the sacred in everyday life, to remember who we are. We can do that by being present, by seeing what's right in front of us. Two important words, right? Be present. Those make a big difference in living a deliberate life, because we're living here, now, in this moment. And it keeps you aware of life and of what's going on around you and, very importantly, within you. Spend time with your inner self. Commune with the Spirit. It doesn't matter how. Maybe it's prayer. Maybe it's meditation. Maybe it's walking in nature. Maybe it's listening to music. Doesn't matter. Spend that time. Creates a peaceful simplicity rather than that chaotic confusion. And find a creative outlet for your self-expression. Maybe you like to dance. Maybe you like to write. Maybe you like to sing. Maybe you just like to be silly. Whatever that creative expression is, we all have one. Find an outlet that makes your life more fulfilling. Allow that creative expression to come through and to be realized. Give it a life of its own. And live life more deliberately. Do every task that you do slowly, methodically, and with attention. Doesn't matter if it's washing dishes or mowing the lawn or cleaning the bathroom. I shared the other night during class that I can't tell you how many times I have left this building and not remembered whether or not I locked the door. And I had to turn around and come back to make sure. Why? Because I'm not present. So I am learning and I'm working on that, because it's a long way from my house, back and forth. And because I know how important it truly is to be mindful and to be present. Anything that we do deliberately with intention can be meditative. Anything, because we're just in that connection, that space of connection. And another good reason is Gandhi said this: there is more to life than increasing its speed. Boy, don't. Yeah, I heard. Nice reminder to slow down, huh? Everyone heard that one. Fill your day with simple pleasures and be present with them. It doesn't have to be anything expensive. It just has to be pleasurable. And you just want to be present with it and enjoy it instead of being concerned about later on or tomorrow. Be here now. And finally, remember your spirit. Remember your absolute true nature. Remember who you are. The best thing that we can do for ourselves when life becomes too hectic or too cluttered or too dramatic or too anything is to stop and remember who we are. That divine manifestation of all that is. Wow. And we have all the power that we could possibly ever need within us. Go to that place in your mind where you're in harmony with the perfection of all of creation. There's nothing more inspiring than nature. It's a great way to revitalize and replenish our energy. Because as we spend time in nature, we realize it's a part of us, and we breathe that in, and we become one with it. Nature holds a restorative power for us. It has that primal, almost parental role in our lives, and it's so important for us to honor that if we want to maintain that heightened level of spiritual awareness. There's something so incredibly spiritual about nature and all the little creatures running around or flying around. Have you ever noticed that when you encounter a breathtaking natural landscape, that you're also connecting with the majesty, the beauty, and the vastness of life? Do you feel that? Do you see that? Do you understand that that is reflected from within you? You are actually that. Your soul expands as your own inner landscape, and it echoes and mirrors the outer. That's why nature, we feel that universal life force more intensely. We recognize at a soul level that we are that majestic beauty and vastness. I mean, that's who you are. So give yourself that permission to be reminded of that and find yourself going out in nature. Feel the connection to Mother Earth. Feel the connection to all those creatures. It's an amazing way to be connected with the universe. You don't even have to go far. You can go outside, here even. When we feel connected, when we know our connection with God's source, our life feels different. It feels simpler. It feels more deliberate. I say we make time for that. I'm going to close this morning with Henry David Thoreau's thoughts about being in nature. I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life, and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not, when I came to die, discover that I had not lived. I wanted to live deep and suck all the marrow out of life. Isn't that beautiful? And we should all aspire to do that very same thing. So thank you so much for being here while I shared this truth as I understand it.